the food, but let me hit on something that is very interesting. There was a developmental conference that we went for, and from what you are saying, if the guys had gone to pound the fufu while we were pounding the fufu, some of them could have found potential wives and so on. And so by not pounding the fufu, you probably blocked somebody's chance to get a wife. So in a developmental conference we went for, the development partners looked at what they thought was the greatest need of the community, and they felt the women were traveling a certain number of kilometers to fetch water and come back. So in their magnanimity, they felt no, why should they waste time and travel to go and fetch the water and come back? So they came to dig a well in the village. Nobody used it. The next day the women traveled back to fetch the water where they were fetching it. Guess why?
Because the men were there.
No, there was a social contract. On the way to the well, they distress. They talk about the issues from the home. How are you coping? Coping mechanism, socio-cultural engagement. That is important. So when you are pounding the food and the sweat is coming, there is some conversation going on. You take that one out of the machine. What do you have to say to that?
So the thing about technology is that initially it's quite difficult for people to adapt to it. So it's going to break some cultural, gatherings, rules like this. But over time, there'll be new ways of people socializing or getting together. But the initial stage is going to break the norm. Now we're not going to work together. We're going to pound together, sweat and talk and chat and all that. That fun is broken. But with time, whilst we go to the meal or coming back, or there'll be something else that will come up that will cause people to enjoy the food or the meal, the preparatory stages. So that's initially we're going to fight it. We are not getting along. We are not socializing. It's breaking some few things. But we are going to develop new ways to get along again.
All right, Bernard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the thoughts of Pastor Otabil that he shared. Not about the food. That one, I'll leave that one for today. But at this year's Springboard, he threw a challenge to the speakers, to tech experts, to the leading technology gurus in this country and said, we must deliberately point technology towards some of the critical needs of our society, like agriculture and healthcare and so on. If not, we'll be excited about the technology, but as poor as we were before, or as deprived as we were before, because it's not solving the key issues. Something that Derry almost alluded to when he talked about the fact that if we are able to get better ways of doing things, we save ourselves probably an hour and 45 minutes, which we can channel to something else. Let's hear the thoughts of Pastor Otabil shared at Springboard. Please don't go away.
My challenge to Kofi and Selom and all of you who are at the forefront of this is, are we going to have another yoking of an ox and a donkey in Africa, where something that supposedly is beneficial to us ends up breaking us? And that is how we should approach this future. So far, as I understand it, and I'm saying this for the benefit of those at the forefront of this technology, so far as I can see, and I can be fabulously wrong, but from my small vantage point, I have not seen the digital technology qualitatively transform anything about the core of our lives in Africa. Because much as I know how to use my iPhone and WhatsApp and Instagram and pay money and give my offering, I give all my offerings digitally. Has it solved any major problem? Well, I will say there are about 3 major problems we have to solve. One is hunger. No matter how much you can momo money, if it is not solving the basic problem of food production, that technology is not really affecting us positively. We have a health problem. The primary reason why we die by diseases is because of unhealthy, unsanitary environment. So I would want to see, if I say that a technology is benefiting Africa, not only must it give me food and make food cheap, so that the average person, Ghanaian, can go to bed every day with at least one solid meal that can keep his body actively functioning. If we can't find a way to solve that, then the digital technology can be just a nice way to stream videos and have fun, but really it is not answering your core questions. If it cannot help us to solve sanitation and health problems, then it is not solving our core problems. So my challenge to those at the forefront of this revolution, I appreciate all the nice things you are doing and the apps you are creating, the games you are creating, but is it solving the core problems of our continent? Food and health. Obviously, education comes in.
It is 23 minutes past the hour of 7. If you just joined us, this is a convocation of thought about technology. Our guests in the studio, Josiah and Derry, as we begin to unpack the issue of technology, digital solutions, and man or mankind. So far, we've been looking at the adoption or the rapid adoption of fufu machines as an alternative to physical pounding. Now, that is along the lines of food production or food processing. Now, the fact that it emerged that not just individuals but food joints are embracing it in their numbers means that it is a solution that people are finding helpful. Dr. Table throws 3 areas that we should be looking at: education, health and sanitation, and food production. He says, while some of the solutions we have are exciting, these are our biggest need areas, and so anything that goes to those ones goes to the very heart of our lives. This is about food production or food processing. Josiah, I want to believe that the reason why anyone will choose technology is 1, because it does things cheaper, 2, because it is faster, 3, because it is more efficient, that it uses less resources to get more results, and 4, because it makes one more productive. Those, in my opinion, should be the 4 reasons why a technology should be adopted. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can argue that, but I think we live in a society where we push people to think about money. So it's like, okay, I need to be rich before I can tackle societal problems, right? And I am opposite of that.
Right.
So when you look at Ghana, for example, when it rains, everybody's panicking because this whole Accra turns into a swimming pool, right? Now, sanitation, we talk about gutters that just open or blocked or choked or whatever, right? I have people that are doing IoT. So all it is, you can put just Internet of Things, right? So you can put sensors in certain parts of the gutters itself, so that when it chokes, it can send off signals to the right sanitation organizations or whatever to say, okay, this particular gutter along, let's say, Joy FM Road is blocked, right? So we need to literally unblock it before the rain comes, right? Technology can do that. So when people dump stuff in there and it blocks, the sensors goes off. So we don't have to wait for the rain to come before everything goes. And you've got kids around this nation that can do that, right? We can even use that as a national program, run a hackathon and encourage kids to come out with these kind of problems. Now, talk about sanitation. You're walking down the street, you can see garbage everywhere. People, we can build a platform. People take pictures, right? Upload it in the cloud. It tells you exactly the location, and then we tag the organization that's responsible for that. If we give them, let's say, 2 hours, 3 hours to sort that. If I then come to the same area and the garbage is still there, we need to hold those people accountable. This is where technology comes in. Technology is not physically coming in to just, take the garbage off the floor. We're just using it as a tool. So even these mobile phones that nowadays when you see people fighting, everybody's so quick to take out their mobile phone, record it and put it on YouTube because you want to go viral. But you're not using exactly the same platform for these kind of things. See, so again, yes, we have infrastructure problems, but here's where technology can help us do that. So when it comes to bins, it comes to gutters and all of those other things, you can do that. Now, talking about healthcare, right? You go to the hospital, then you need to pass your card from one to this person, and then it's a whole like a chain of nurses sitting together passing off cards to each other, right? We have people that can write a simple software that you just identify a name and a number, you tag it to a person. If I come in there, I give you my ID number. It's easy. The doctor, literally, I can sit at home, take a picture of my injury, send it to a doctor. The doctor can tell me, oh, this is the kind of treatment you need, or there's a pharmacy along the way, you can go get your medicine. So I don't need to go to the hospital for all of these things. What that does is it will reduce the number of hours that you spend at the hospital. Doctors then can then take care of, emergencies that it's much more important than people just going up and down. So for me, when we talk about technology, you made a point. Let's not make it seem like this far out thing. So we already have the tools anyway. We need to make it useful. We need to create softwares that makes it useful. At the moment, everybody wants to do games and whatnot. We need to create platforms that makes people use these things. And I'll call it content relevance, right? Because if it's not relevant, nobody's going to use it.
It is 28 minutes past the hour of 7. Let's break it down into 4 areas. Let's talk about the design.
Right.
Let's talk about the deployment of the technology. Let's talk about the using of it, and then let's talk about the wholesale adoption. It's a journey. But Derry,
sorry,
Derry, why do we get stuck at some parts of this journey? Why are we not able to complete the full cycle? Because sometimes, from what Josiah is saying, some of the technologies have probably already even been designed. Some of them have been deployed, but maybe by just one person or two persons. I mean, I've had people come into the studio and actually talk about some of these technologies being used in hospitals, being used in places. It's not that they are now being designed, they are there. But the reason why we brought this simple example about food is that we are impressed with what MTN Momo has been able to do. It's been adopted wide, significantly across the nation, because there was a need that was staring at us in the face, and there was a solution that was available, and the need and the solution met. So the big question that we are asking, where is the next one going to come from? What is likely to be that next one that the need and the solution will meet, and there will be a mass adoption? Because it's not enough to hear one or two people, Jojo is using it, Derry is using it, and Josiah is using it, but we want to hear it being used wide and solving. You can make a calculation and say, as a result, this has dropped by this percentage. There are some things we are using now that, if I tell you that some time ago, I mean, even I used toothbrushes. Do you know that some time ago was an elitist product, but now in the villages they brush their teeth with brushes? It's no longer a big issue. But some time ago, access was for a few people. Derry, is there likely to be some big one that is coming up soon?
So you made some very important point. How do we get into the next frontier where a certain kind of technology, which can be equated to a Momo, takes society by storm and people start using it? One of the key things that we need to recognize is the way people use technology, or the way technology evolves or is generated or created, also has to do with the societal orientation, right? If we have a society that doesn't have the orientation of one, technology utilization or awareness to want to deploy technology, or that natural desire to use technology to solve problems, then we are not going to get to the point where we'll have a society where we have the problems that are many being solved in different ways. Right now we have so many problems, but people have chosen the economically viable problems to pursue because they need to survive. Because
the limited resources are channeled and they must get a return.
Right. But if we have a society that is oriented, or that has a natural orientation towards solving problems irrespective of need. For example, where do we do air conditions at? Where are air conditions coming from? It's not coming from we Africans or the tropics here. It's coming from where it's very cold. How come they find it so cold there, but they still created air condition? They actually use heaters more. Where do we do solar panels? We have a lot of sunshine here. How come we didn't do the sunshine? But somebody who has limited sunshine in a year actually goes out there to do solar systems. It's because they have an orientation towards R&D. They have an orientation towards solving problems, not just based on a mass need, but based on a natural desire to want to make society better or to have society improve. So from that perspective, if we want to be able to solve some of the problems that you mentioned, as I mentioned about, the things that we think are basic and very standard, then we need to get people having awareness towards those challenges, because we speak about them. But desire, what about that mental, tweaking that we say, let's not talk alone, but let's pump resources and do something about them.
And who should do that pumping?
Right. And see, that's what I was going to ask you, right? So you have government, you have private sector, right? And then you have I would say the normal people, right? Now, government needs to bring in policies, right? People like you and I who are involved in the tech, we are the ones that need to be like futuristic, right? Because all of these technologies that we're using, you rightly pointed, none of them is being created by us as Africans, right? So we be very reactive. So everything that we need to solve our problems here becomes very expensive because we did not create it. So we need to then go back to the drawing board. Rather than chasing the advancement of Europe, we need to go back to the drawing board and how can we locally develop in order to solve our own problems, then it becomes cheaper. Because if you're expecting the government to then put in money into, let's just say, solar panels, for example, right? The policies that they probably signed up for literally ties up their hands, because if you go and borrow money from Germany, for example, right, as a Ghanaian government, you go and borrow money from Germany, there are little clause in it that will say allow some of these companies that we have to come into your nation, right? So that means our government cannot fund a solar panel project, but we can as private sector,
and
right?
You're absolutely right. And so to add to what you're saying, that means that society in itself, we need to start desiring more than the bread and butter problems. Because if we cry over the bread and butter things, which I know are very important, then you are pushing the leaders that be to go and look for the resources to solve those problems. So that's why I always want to talk about social orientation, because if the society does not have that natural orientation to want to utilize tech, and our mindset is always set on the bread and butter, eat, survive and go big, then yes, government could go for the loan, but they're going to use a loan to solve the problems that the society wants. From a design thinking point of view, you solve problems that people have. You don't conjure problems in the solutions in the air for problems that people don't think they have.
It is 34 minutes past the house of 7, and it's turning into a blockbuster debate between Derridin and Josiah. It's that kind of engagement that we want around the things that concern us. We want to ask ourselves, how do we move our lives forward? When we come back from this segment, we will be going to our data is king segment, where there will be an equally controversial or thought-provoking, if I may put it that way, statistic about the correlation between Africa and France, and that will be brought to us by Amos from our research desk. But let me say that Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy and your super station Joy 99.7 FM, and is proudly sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, MTN, Ghana's #1 network, and of course, Graphic Business provides the print media support. Let's take a message from EcoBank from Jojo, and then when we come back, we will move into our data is king segment. Jojo.
So the EcoBank Express Point allows you to access basic banking services across the country. Enjoy EcoBank Express Point services after banking hours, including weekends and holidays. Locate an EcoBank Express Point nearest to you at selected Shell shops, pharmacies, grocery shops, ECG vendor points, and mobile money merchant locations. Enjoy the following services at our Express Points. Open an instant EcoBank Express account, deposit and withdraw cash from your EcoBank accounts, redeem e-tokens, receive international remittances, and to locate an EcoBank Express Point, simply dial star 770 hash, select 8 for Express Locator, select your region, enter the first 3 letters of your area, and begin to transact today. EcoBank, your CIMG Marketing Oriented Company of the Year. EcoBank, your CIMG Hall of Fame Bank. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Indeed, EcoBank is the Pan-African bank and Springboard is the virtual university. Let me say a big good evening to Barbara assuring today is your birthday and you are celebrating the goodness of the Lord, and so this is dedicated to you. Let me say also another big one to Michaela Adi Brooks. Today is your birthday as well and you are celebrating the goodness of the Lord. My sister Joy celebrating a birthday this week. This is also for you all the way in the USA. Enjoy the song Rejoice by Sinach, and then when we come back, Amos will give us that statistic about Ghana versus France that is getting all of us up in arms. Please don't go away.
I hope you have your dancing shoes on. You have your dancing shoes on? All right. Touch somebody, say it's time to rejoice. Give somebody a high five. It's time to rejoice. Say, neighbor, give me some room. Give me some room. As you can see, I'm ready to rejoice. Woo, woo, woo. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Rejoice in his presence. I'm gonna dance and praise him. Come on.
Doesn't matter what comes my way, the greater one lives inside of me. His name is Jesus. I'm born a winner, more than victorious. I'm a heir of his kingdom, filled with the Holy Ghost.
And so this one goes to Elder Amos Kevin Annan on the occasion of your 50th birthday that fell this week, my brother. Amos Kelvin Annan, your 50th birthday, and we give God thanks for your life. Barbara assuring this song is for you. Michaela Adibru, this song is for you, and of course Joy Araba Hatton Okran, this song is yours. You're filled with the Holy Ghost. Enjoy, rejoice in him.
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call call on MTN Free After 1, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
It's 19 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock, and our Data is King segment. Today we highlight the developmental gap with a focus on Africa and France. Amos is our head of research and he's here to present it. Amos, what have the experts been saying that have been annoying us this week?
So this evening, our Data is King section, we've captioned it Africa versus France. And it's based on data we have compiled from IMF, from the CIA World Fact Book, and also Wikipedia. It says the combined gross domestic product of the 54 economies in Africa is estimated at 2.45 trillion. This is the same GDP of France. So 54 countries, same GDP as one country. Now Africa, with 1.2 billion people, has 18 times the population of France and 47 times the landmass of France. So the question, one of the questions we are asking this evening is, with so many people and seemingly limitless resources, why are we so far behind in development? Now, according to the bestseller written by Darren Acemoglu and James Robinson, Why Nations Fail, they say that creativity, innovation, and technological change are the keys to economic growth. So the second question we are asking this evening is, what must we do as African nations to change the status quo?
Thank you very much, Amos. It's from our research desk. It's Josiah, it's almost like it's been laid on the plate for you. You're so excited. Yeah. But those are the kinds of discussions that we want to continue having about in our quest to achieve our goals. Why is Africa so far behind? Why is it that we have so much and yet seemingly so little? Let me tease out your thoughts first, Derry. First of all, the statistic. Are you surprised? 18 times the land mass of France, 18 times the population, and then 47 times the land mass, and yet our GDP is the same.
Yeah, and first of all, I'm not surprised, because it's been, since I was born, it's been that we always play catch up, and I believe that nobody has actually caused us to have that revolution in our minds that maybe we should not accept catch up, for want of a better, catch up in as the norm.
Right.
We should rather make it the exception. And for me, I think it's fundamental.
Isn't it the case that anyone who tries to push us rapidly outside our comfort zone becomes the enemy?
Is that the case? For me, I believe, I still think there's our society. It's how we think. And like you said, so if I'm pushing you, one, then you become the enemy. Why? Is it because you didn't push me with the right language? Is it because you didn't push me with the right structure?
I can't push you with a smile. I can't push you with a smile. It has to be a compelling push.
I get you on that, but we need to get to a point where we create a society where everybody is inclined, has the desire, has the orientation, wants to see a change through some better ways of doing it, like using technology. If that mindset is not there, it's very tough to cause any change. You're able to leapfrog and then catch up with France, or even overcome France.
I'm going to come to Josiah, but Darren Acemoglu and James Robinson, in their book Why Nations Fail, say, listen, it's a simple thing. If we don't deploy creativity, innovation, and technology, forget it. We will never get there. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so let's be real. Francophone countries still to today pay France for colonizing them, right? Straight off.
That's the point you're so passionate
right
about.
Now, Ivory Coast and Ghana, cocoa producers are number one. Anybody can argue if they want, right? But they have policies in place. Ivory Coast cannot sell their cocoa until France either rejects it and then tells them who they can sell it to.
So
right?
First option.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then along the whole value chain, they control everything.
So you're saying that France is a beneficiary of Africa's hard work.
So the system is already being
carry
played.
the bag on my head.
Why can't we just stop it?
No. But you see, it's easy.
Let me carry the bag on my head and migrate from France, so that the discussion does not become about France.
Let's
not about a certain model.
Right.
Hold on.
I want us to look at it from one how do we evolve technologically?
Yes, let me come technology. I'll come to technology. But I anticipated this France response, and so I'm going to move to Japan.
Yeah.
Japan hasn't colonized anyone, so you will not be offended.
They did actually.
Japan they have not colonized Africans.
No.
So let's go to Japan. So according to the same data that I'm looking at here, Japan has 126 million people, and that is 10% of Africa's population. 1/10. So that means we have 10% or 10 times Japan's population. We have 1.2 billion. They have 126 million. But guess what? We make 2.5 trillion a year. Japan makes 4.8. If France's own offended you, Japan is twice that of France. What's your response?
That does not offend me, but let's be real. Africa's population is very youthful, correct? And it's almost, I think some genius person said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then you will be stupid, right?
So because we are younger, we should be poorer.
No. We're not poor. Africa is Africans that are poor. Africa is not poor. Let's not confuse the two.
Okay, so
because we don't know how to manage our resources at the moment.
That makes us poor.
No. We are trading our resources with an older brother. It's like you and your older brother, right? Your older brother's
like Jacob and Esau.
Well,
Jacob was younger. He traded and you won.
Right. If you want to put it like that, right? But if you want revolution, right, then that means we have to totally disengage from the system, right?
For purposes of tonight's discussion, let's stick with the recommendations of the book,
right?
Why Nations Fail. And the reason why we brought this one up is that it says that technology, which is our baby, is the hope for Africa.
Yes.
Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I do agree, but the point is, if you're going to, let's just say, this mobile phone, right?
Let's leave out our big brothers, as you call
this
them.
Mobile phone.
Africa, 2.5 billion. Forget about who colonized us.
Right.
Forget about who has 4.8. Forget about who also has 2.5.
Right.
We want to double it. We want to move forward.
Right.
And they are saying creativity, innovation, and technology.
Right.
That is the key.
But we have all of these already. But we don't have the systems in place to monetize that. Right? So when you look at the music industry, people are very creative. Music is coming out, but how do we even pay for that to start with? How do we monetize that? When you look at the film industry, right, we are making money from it, or should I say we're creating great movies, but how are we making money from it? So if we're not building these platforms to monetize from things, then to me, that is the problem. We don't know how to monetize, or we haven't monetized anything. When you look at them like payment platforms at the moment, right, most of them in Ghana right now, our populations were like 25 million. How many payment platforms do we have?
I'm going to come to Derry on that very shortly. Derry is an authority in payments. So before I come to Derry, let me just read a few thoughts from our listeners. Jeremiah Bwabin says, it's even more shocking when you consider literacy levels in Africa, which have risen significantly, but there has been no commensurate increase in GDP. He's saying that we are going to school more, but still are not able to make that impact. Kobla Mensah Gadawi, speaking on Facebook, says just compare us with Singapore, and they were importing potable water from Malaysia at the time of the split. It's the quality of our brain. Eric Apiakubi says the resource curse phenomenon, 63% of their repatriated profits come from Africa. He's talking about the France issue. Archibald Kwame Fredo Ajiman says it is corruption which has been our bane. Ebenezer Komla Gavua says strong leadership is the number one problem in Africa. Amarok Van Sarkodie, writing on Facebook, says this, I think Wallerstein explains this best in his world system theory analysis. He exposes the unequal international labor division between the global south, which he terms as the periphery, and then the core societies. Well, these are the thoughts of our listeners trying to analyze the gap between ourselves and what they call the core societies. Derry, if they say technology is the enabler that can change it all, from a non-technology point of view, I tend to believe them because I take one example like Momo. Today, whether we like it or not, from any part of the world, I can conveniently cut my cost by dealing with vendors that I deal with on a regular basis, service providers, and just when I decide to make my payments from the comfort of anywhere in the world, I can pay them all, I can initiate transactions, and that means also that I can do business with somebody from end to end without ever seeing them, because of the power of one solution. Derry,
right?
If we got 3 more Momos, wouldn't that make us richer?
Definitely, and technology, how do you call it, in Ghana and across the world, payment is actually very fundamental for a society to be enriched through technology, because when people are exchanging value, money has to change hands, and if you have a technological means of transferring that money, then people create more value because it's easy for them to access those monies. But what technology has done is that it has bridged the gap between distances. So now people go on platforms like Alibaba to do their own supply chain stuff. When it comes to health, there are platforms that support health systems. Yes, Ghana is lagging behind, but technology is enabling. If you go to certain hospitals in Ghana, you realize that they're actually very knee deep into technology.
Yeah, I've experienced it. Yeah, very serious
when it comes to transportation. And you find a lot of Ghanaians trying to actually work around our social problems to put in place technological solutions. Where the gap is one, the infrastructure for these Ghanaians to be able to deploy their technologies at scale. And that is very fundamental, because technology, at the end of the day, the last mile is to give people a fulfilling life. Technology is not some mystery or some cyborg or some what we used to watch in Terminator, some crazy thing. It's something that's supposed to make people's life better, right? So what I see is that we have a lot of technology out there, a lot of Ghanaians out there, young people who are trying to do amazing stuff through tech. But the challenge in there is, one, the infrastructure gap, two, the adoption gap. And adoption gap sometimes is due to the literacy gap, because if people don't understand, or people cannot be educated in the language that makes it easy to tell them about technology, or that makes it easy to teach them about the technology, then you're going to find it difficult to transfer that knowledge on the technology front, to enable them adopt the technology. So fundamentally, we need to fix things around our education to make technology a part and parcel of every Ghanaian, and the desire to research, the mental orientation. We need to have Ghanaians who just think and want to solve problems using available tools to deal with them.
Infrastructure, adoption, and literacy. When I come back to Deridine and Josiah, it will be to find their final thoughts, if they can look into the crystal ball and tell me which one technology is likely. Listen, I just want an answer, straight answer, no discussion. Which one area or one technology is likely to be the next MTN Momo when I come back? But it's time now for our game changer segment, where Jojo explores interesting things that just were game changers for people or are changing lives in any part of the world. Jojo, what do you have for today?
So this week, we're taking a bit of a break from our Small Business Big Value series, and we're just going to celebrate an incredible act of humanity and sportsmanship. So for athletic fans, the IAAF World Championship is the highlight of the calendar year. It's only second to the Olympics. And so during the men's 5,000 meter heat, there was a moment which had the whole crowd standing up and cheering on their feet. For all intents and purposes, the race had already ended. The victor had crossed about 5 minutes ago. But for Sonka Dabo of Guinea-Bissau, it was all about finishing the race and setting his personal best time. But with 200 meters to the finish, Dabo noticed that an Aruba runner called Jonathan Busby was about to pass out from exhaustion. He set aside his personal best and helped the guy up and helped him to cross the finish line, where he actually just collapsed and was taken away on a wheelchair. This week, our game changer is empathy. Now, Dabo's moment of sacrifice won him the admiration of the entire sporting community, but there was a bit of a twist in the tale. Even though he stopped to help Busby up, he actually still beat his personal best time. So empathy can be defined as the ability to understand and share the emotions of another person. And if you're wondering how empathy translates to the corporate world, Consider this. 60% of employees would be willing to take a pay cut if their employer showed empathy, whereas almost 80% of employees would actually leave an employer for equal pay if the other company showed more empathy. To close, I would like to leave you with a quote from Oprah Winfrey. Leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate to and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. Now this week, let us practice empathy by stepping into the shoes of the people around us. Now this has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
I like the smile on your face. And Derry was very empathetic when he was talking about Chef Kiku. He didn't think about his company's profit. He thought about the guy's dream in his heart. That was very empathetic. Let me give you half a minute, Derry.
Right.
We have just a couple of minutes left. Half a minute to tell me when you look into the crystal ball as an expert, which areas are likely to produce the next big technology break for this country?
I think there are a lot of keywords out there. It's open knowledge. I think things around data. Tech that's around data technology or analytics, artificial intelligence. That is where we are heading towards, because things have to be smarter, and we need to process information even faster, and a lot of them very, very fast. So that in that direction, we're going to have a lot of technology there. Verification tech to tell the truth. What is truth? Any technology that enables people verify anything, including identity. For example, you're going to vote. So the society is about truth because of
data,
trust issues.
Verification,
trust. Any technology that enhances trust.
Those are the areas to look at.
Yeah.
Airbnb is in town. Uber is in town. All those are in
and
town.
And you take it because you trust them.
Right.
So there's a mechanism in there that is enabling you trust that if I pick this car, the driver's face is a driver, there's a car number. Right. So all those technologies.
Let me give the last chance to Josiah in half a minute. Which area? You are an incubator, so you deal with several people. Which areas do you think will open up?
I think for me it would be health.
Yeah.
If we figured out this whole blockchain overriding infrastructure, health will be the next game changer, because that is the problem that we face.
I can tell you what, we'll engage the two of you again, because we are on a journey that will take us into next year, looking for solutions that will make the quality of our lives better as Ghanaians. So we'll definitely call you back again as the Lord enables us.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to you, Josiah. Thank you to you, Derry. Coming up next is a Walk with Jesus, and the topic is comprehensive sexuality education, the take of the church. Pastor Ransford will host Bishop Fred Kwachi-Mensah and then Dr. Paul Frimpong. So you don't want to miss that one. Of course, there will be also Bishop Prince Benny Wood. Jojo, take it home.
So a big thank you to MTN and EcoBank for sponsoring us. Thank you to the graphic business for the support as well. My name is Jojo Okran, and on behalf of Team Springboard, comprising Albert, Comfort, Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, and Emmanuel, we say a massive thank you for spending time with us tonight. Till we come your way again next week, God bless you,
God bless you, and God bless you. Good night.